Hey guys, I got my main man Patrick here with me. We're going to be going over due diligence and lead generation. So make sure to get your questions in. We'll be answering those live over the next 45 minutes or so. And how you doing, Patrick?
Good, man. Good. Yeah, I'm in
Awesome.
Barcelona right now.
Barcelona.
Yeah.
You must be having rough times over in Barcelona.
It's up and down. It was Saturday. We went to watch the FC Barcelona game at their stadium there, that was an awesome experience.
Yeah, I have a lead generation friend. He actually told me because he lives in Spain, Nasos. He told me, he said, "Why don't you just come over to Spain with me?" He's gonna fly me out, and that's also I can't leave my wife, dude. I gotta bring them all. I can't just be by myself. So not a single dude. So yeah,
it's tough to get away when you got a lot of people depending on you.
6 a.m. in California. Nice to see
thanks
you,
for getting
Facebook
up, man.
user. Yep,
thanks
we
for
were well.
To watch us.
Hey, Tommy. So yeah, we're doing good. We went through that typhoon.
Right?
Yeah, it knocked down hey Paul Myers. Dudes I like to talk to. He's one of my mentors I like talking to. Straighten my ass out sometimes. So
I love that guy. He's awesome. I had lunch with them in San Diego. Good
nice. Dude. Yeah, the typhoon came through and it just rained and wind. We actually didn't get it too bad because we live in the mountains. Cebu got it really bad. They're flooded. You're talking about roofs and shit ripped off the wall, ripped up, and it just knocked out our power and our generator went down. So of course then we were out of power for a day. And then the internet's like even right now I'm on backup internet. I have two forms of internet. Like I was just telling you, it's like one's a really good one. The one I'm on right now is kind of the slow, but it gets the job done, if you will. So, yeah. But I think it's both of the both the internet's kind of it's like having an issue, but it's kind of something you have to, if you're going to live in the island, you kind of have to get used to it. Otherwise, you're going to be a very pissed off individual.
Man, it's it comes with the territory, right? And it sounds like you're doing everything you can, and I really think that Elon Musk is going to solve some of these problems here pretty soon with the Starlink.
Oh yeah, when he gets the Starlink and all that set up, I told him, I will be getting it and putting it in, and if it does as good as it says, we can get rid of some bills. So, good morning, Uma.
Good vibes from Montreal, Dominique.
Good morning, Dominique. What's up, brother?
I think that's French Canadian, right?
Montreal. Yep, I have no clue. That's Paul's neck of the woods. So, Hey, good morning. Okay. So, due diligence. What do you mean by due diligence? Or can you explain to these good people what do you mean by due diligence? I know what I mean whenever I'm thinking about it, but what do you mean when you're talking about due diligence for those people that never heard of the term or never used the term, that sort of thing?
Yeah. So, with the business model that we run, right, the rank and rent business model, I think it's one of the most important and kind of underrepresented parts of the process, making sure that you not only select the right niche, but the right location for that niche. There's a lot of different games in town, right? And depending on what game you choose to play on, you're going to run into very different levels of competition, right? So what I mean by due diligence is before you go and you're going to build your rank and rent site and a location, let's make sure that we're playing with the weakest competition that we can find, right? Like this isn't, I think for most of us, this isn't like an ego thing. It's more of let's go as fast as possible and make money as quickly as possible. And if we choose the right city and the right niche, then we can reduce that time as much as possible. So a few hours of work can go a long way. And, it can save you months or a year. I'll tell you a story. When I started one of the first sites I built was an air conditioning site in Las Vegas, like one of the hottest places on earth. There's 2 million people there, and there's, I don't know, it seems like 1 out of 3 people has started an air conditioning company in that city. So the competition was ridiculous. It took us a year to rank it, a year that we spent building on it. And then what happened is, Vegas is really hot in the summer and it doesn't get super cold. So that means that it's feast or famine for these guys. A lot of these people, they're not going to replace their furnace if it dies in the winter because it's not necessary. They go and get like a space heater and they tough it out. So it's really hard for someone to grow an air conditioning company and be able to bring on people full time, because it's like they can bring them on full time for the summer while they're busy and maybe parts of the spring and fall. But what are they going to do in the winter when there's not a lot of work? They're trying to sell like maintenance packages. So these things would have been discovered had I understood.
If you had did enough the due diligence, if you'd actually did better research, if you will.
That's right. There's other ones that we've gone into where we've spent, a month or, maybe 2 months. And then we have the site bringing in a lot of leads. The leads are really valuable because we've chosen a good niche. And, not instantly, but very quickly turns into good money. You have a few $1,000s coming in a month within a couple months. So that's what I mean by due diligence is like, how are you going to locate these niches? What's your process look like? And, how are you going to eliminate and decide what's good and what's bad? So I imagine you have a similar process that you go through, right, William?
Similar, very much so.
So this is what I would say. Let's both of us kind of talk about what we would do as we go through it. I can go through my process. I would love to hear your 2 cents on all the different things that you're doing differently. And maybe there's like an all-star team due diligence strategy between the 2 of us.
Yep. Morning, David. I'll go through it in 1 second. And morning, Ryan. So essentially, ours is pretty simple. Whenever we're doing quote unquote due diligence or our research, is I'm going to go to, let's say, Home Advisor, Angie's List, different places. And for the most part, they pretty much, it's the same way I talk about going into Google and doing keyword research. What are questions that people are asking when I'm looking at, for instance, metal roof repair, stuff like that. I go into Google, look at the other questions people also ask. That way I get a feel for kind of what are people actually looking for versus what you think people are looking for. Go into Home Advisor and use the search bar, and literally you can enter in, for example, let me pull it up real quick and I'll show you guys, besides just talking about it. I've went over it a little bit before, but I'd rather do an actual search for you so you can kind of see. So for example, if you were going, excuse me real quick, Home Advisor. Home Advisor is a good one. It's kind of like, you can go in there and search and look for example, what is the service you need? And you can look under, let's say, handyman or roof repair, and it will literally go, here's all the things that people are looking for. So if I go, and I'm going to show you all the screen, I'm just pulling it up. My internet will behave itself. Here we go. Okay. So if we go to, this is just Home Advisor, okay? And I was to use this nice little search bar up here at the top, and I just type in, let's just say roofing and gutters. I'm not good roofing and gutters. Sorry, that's too specific. But let's go over here and go to metal or install or replace metal roofing. Usually it's not cooperating right now, but Havoc. Yeah, it's not going to cooperate right now, of course. But basically, you can come in here and do a search. And let's just, if you wanted to go metal or install or replace, let's just repair a metal roof. Let's go 32246, right? You can go through all this stuff. Is this emergency? No. Leaky skylight, next. aluminum, whatever you want. And generally, by the time you're done, it gives you this whole list of what other people are actually looking for. And, go through all this. All through this is building your project. Click here. You can put in your street information. Let me pull up real quick this other one so I could show you guys this. It's going to aggravate me because normally it's behaving and now it's not going to behave. Home advisor, roof repairs. So let's see if it will pull it. Usually you just go to it and look it up and see what they're looking at. And then I look at it, literally goes, for example, whenever it works properly, it actually goes, for example, let me look at this roof repair. There we go. Now it wants to cooperate, of course. So you have to do a search query, and I can give you the exact link, but it's right there. If I type in roof repair, I can type in plumber, whatever, and it gives me all these different quote unquote categories of stuff that people are actually looking for. So install, repair roof plumbing fixtures, repair gas piping, pump out a septic tank, all these different things. And then the next step after I have this information, I will also go to Google Trends and I'll run Google Trends. So
you're kind of using this as like a keyword research to kind of find out what you want to hone in on first, right?
Bingo. So let's say I wanted to do gas piping. I go to Google Trends and use Google Trends. Trends kind of tell me if I go, just do this search term real quick. And this is searching in the Philippines. I don't want to search in the Philippines. Let's go to the United States. Right. And nothing. Okay. So let's say gas piping. And then it gives me a trend. What I like about trends, for example, is not this stuff. It goes, for instance, if I wanted to choose Washington, because Washington, colder area, therefore they're going to have, need piping. It's telling me, for example, Seattle and Tacoma is a good area. So I would go into Seattle and Tacoma and then start building out my assets. The next tool I will use is keyword supremacy.
Hang on one second, William. I just want to point something out here.
Yep.
Look at the spikes on this, and I think that you can kind of get, some of you guys get in situations if you niche down to something that's really seasonal, and especially if you go up into the north, you might be able to detect that as a part of your due diligence right here by kind of paying attention to these trends of when this stuff is spiking. And if it's dead, a certain part of it, like gas piping might not be, but if you were in that like HVAC and you had Nevada or Vegas in here, you might see that there's like no search volume during the winter, right? And that could be a problem for you.
Yeah, so and see, like on this too, because for example, like we're in Washington state, and during the summer months, there's literally nothing. But towards the winter months, which is, August, you got into here, then you get those as well. The other tool, which I've talked about before, is Azagio, and then keyword supremacy, in which I can go, and literally type in, for example, just the keyword and actually pull and see how difficult is the keywords to get ranked for. And if it's not difficult, then I can turn around and on top of it, choose an EDM. And then besides choosing an EDM, it will tell me, I can pull in Azagio and go, what is my competition doing? It pulls the competition for that keyword. I can see their, if you will, their page structure, and then pull in their exact page names, meta title, meta description, everything, and then duplicate the entire structure of the entire website and easily beat them for the most part. And that's pretty much really it. And then the Q&As that we find on Google, we then use that to build out the content, etc. So,
yeah, that's I like that. I like the keyword aspect part of it. It's a little, it's definitely different than the strategy that we're using. I've spent more time diving into the competition and kind of like evaluating them. I can kind of take you through that process a little bit too.
Yep.
Let's see here. I am in my. This is what's frustrating. I use the heat map as a part of my due diligence process because I want to look at the competitors, right? So let me find one of these ones that I had completed. I queued one up, but apparently there's a good amount of people running heat maps right now in our system because I am in line. Okay, let me share my screen here. And give me 1 second. I just want to pull something up first.
And if you guys have any questions, make sure to drop them below, and me and Patrick will answer them. It can be just GMB related or due diligence or keyword research specifically on this call. And as always, make sure to, if you weren't interested in Lead Snap, make sure to see in the description the link and click on that. Go check it out as always. And if you haven't already done so, make sure to subscribe to the channel and give it a like on that bell notification. That way you're notified anytime we go live. So we go live quite often and we're always dropping gold. We got people in here like Patrick and everybody else. So don't want y'all to miss out on anything. But if you have any questions, make sure to drop them below and I will answer them. Also, I know you don't have it. I don't think I do have an ebook if any of you guys would want it. I'm always dropping stuff like this, but I have a niche, if you will, a niche ebook in which I go over some niches. I didn't mention that, but that's another thing we do as well. I have a, if you will, a whole list of different niches that you can get involved in if you wanted, because a lot of times people just kind of need an idea of, if you will, what type of niches are there. I think a lot of people, just they think it's too limited as always roofers, gutters, locksmiths, shit like that. But there's just so many different niches you could actually get involved with that, it's mind boggling. So
yeah. I mean, just to speak a little bit about the niche selection, some of the stuff that I look for, I mentioned this on a call a few weeks ago, is I really like things to have a high average ticket price of like $1,000. I think you're going to notice a strong relationship between the amount of money that you're going to be able to charge your clients with the amount of the average ticket cost. So if you have like a tow truck client where the average ticket cost might be $80, then you're probably not going to be able to get $5,000 from them. But maybe you're working with a pool builder where the average ticket cost is $50,000. Then that's going to create a lot more profit margin for them, and they're going to have more money to pay. The leads are worth more. Typically, you're going to have less competition and also a more sophisticated client when you move into these higher value niches. You can see my screen, right, William?
yes, sir. Artisan home services, right?
Yeah, that's right. So I got this company pulled up. So what I typically like to do is I'm going to find my way into the maps. That's kind of one of my first things. So I'm going to go to google.com/maps. And one of the things I like to do is I will look at, regardless of where you are in the world, I think the United States has been the best market that I've found. So I will say cities by population, US. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and there's this Wikipedia article here. And I like to pay attention to the population. So you can see right now it's listing it all by population, right? With the most on top.
Yep.
So if we go down here to, let's go down to right around here, because up here, this is what you're going to run into. This is like the ringer territory. You're going to run into the big dogs. Whoever is winning in these markets, there's so many people in these markets, whoever's winning in these markets, they know what they're doing. Like, that's not always the case. And you can certainly beat these people still. But if you come down here, you can find like a lot of easy markets. So when you come down to, and you got to be careful because you don't want to go too far down this list, because you don't want to have populations that are too small and they won't have enough volume to support a good amount of like a high monthly fee. right? So
Hmm.
I think kind of a sweet spot is in this like 200,000 to 250,000, and you can kind of work your way up, right? So if we kind of keep going up, we can see a lot of these different cities. So I would go through these different cities and I would look for niches, kind of like pair these with your niches that you're researching. So if I'm interested in going into to a swimming pool building, then I can go to these different areas. Obviously, in like certain areas, like Seattle, is probably not going to be a good spot for a pool building because it's cold, right? So you got to pay attention to that. But you got like a good selection, and I work my way up from the bottom of the list, and then I'm going to come here and I'm going to do a search. So if we said like roofing Green Bay, right? So that's going to take us to this area, and it's going to give me a list of roofers. Okay, so the one that I've done is I've located this like Artesian Home Services. Okay, so once I find this, I am going to get their share link, and I'm going to copy this and paste it into this up here so that I can run a heat map. And if you run a heat map, you will see this. Okay, so we ran this heat map for Plumber Near Me for this Artesian Home Services. So the reason I think it's important to run a heat map is look at this company here. When I do a search, who knows where Google is deciding to pick my location for these search results? And if you look at the heat map, it changes as you move across town, right? So as I move across town, the results change a lot. And they could have randomly chosen this Pierce company. Like if Pierce is only number one in one spot, then I could think that Pierce is the best person in town. And maybe they're terrible, but they just rank well in the one spot that Google chose. So by doing this and then getting the average, I can see that this is the top person in town. So this is who I'm going to do my due diligence on, is this Artesian Home Services, right? So I can see that they're number one in town. And now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go to this guy here. Okay. So I'm going to open up their website. I'm going to go over here. I want to look and see how good they are. Just because they're ranking well, we know that they're ranking the best in this town, but like they might be terrible. They just are better than whoever else is here. I want to know how good they are. So the theory is if I find a company that's ranking really well, and they haven't done much to earn that ranking, then I can overtake them really easily, right? So that's kind of what I want to dive into is like, this is them. This is the Artesian. And one of the things I look at to determine how tough a site is going to be to outrank is content. And you can see that this site, we came to their contact us page, not their homepage. Let's go to their homepage because that's really going to drive stuff more. You can see that there's some content on here, kind of going through it. Not a lot. Okay, so Artesian is the best in this area for that term, Plumber Near Me, and they're able to achieve this ranking without a lot of content. And we know that content is a big contributor to rankings, not only the ranking for the site, and the site ranking drives the ranking for the Google My Business, right? Another thing I'm going to use is this free plugin from Majestic. So I don't have an account with Majestic. You don't need one to use this. So this is a free plugin. And this is their trust flow and citation flow. So ideally, the trust flow citation flow ratio would be about 1-to-1 because citation flow is measuring the amount of links that point to the site, and trust flow is measuring the quality of those links, right? So what we're looking at here is these people have some links. They have 9 external, not a lot, but the links they have are not contributing any to this amount. So their links are kind of garbage. Right. So 2 things we know right now is that they barely have any content and they don't have a lot of strong links. Those are two of the biggest factors that are going to influence the website ranking. Okay, so that is the website part of it. I also like to spend some time looking here. We know that reviews are a big contributing factor to the Google My Business. This is a lot of reviews. I mean, obviously we can always, Obviously, we can always overtake them with more reviews, but this is a big number to overcome. I would love to see like 3 because there's cities out there that are going to barely have any reviews. Like, so this might be one just based on this that I move on from. Like the reviews aren't the only thing. There's all kinds of things that are contributing to this, as William teaches you guys on a weekly basis, right? So if I go in here and I look at this, I can look at the pictures. One of the things I like to look at is like, are these pictures real? And how many are there, right? So it looks like they've got a good amount and they do look real. So if they've got like a bunch of, it's my opinion that Google doesn't really like the photo stock stuff in here. So they've got real ones. This is a hurdle that you're going to have to overcome. The strategy that I use is I like to try to beat them in everything, right? So I want to beat them in reviews and citations and photos and backlinks and content. And at some point, the dominoes just kind of fall in my favor when I beat them in enough things. And who knows exactly how these are weighted? We can speculate, but Google's not saying like, hey, 10% of your ranking is determined by the amount of reviews and 3% is pictures. We have no clue. We're all guessing. But we know that these things are contributing. And by finding people that are weak in these areas, then we can have a easier route to good ranking, essentially, right? So those are some of the things that I like to look at. Sometimes I'll throw them into Ahrefs. That is a paid account. I will open up mine and we'll put them in there real quick. Some of the other stuff I like to look at is like what their name. Does their name have a keyword in it that I'm interested in ranking for? So in this situation, we were looking at plumber and they don't have that name. So we know that naming the Google My Business according to our keyword will help us rank better for that keyword. You can also kind of look at the location. So they have their address in here. And if I'm trying to rank in a city, and if these guys are ranking all over the city that I'm going after, I don't know where this is. This is in some small town in Pennsylvania, it looks like. Imagine, let's just pretend for argument's sake, that this company was ranking all over Philadelphia for this term, but they're located way out here. And we know that their location really influences their ability to rank, right? So the fact that they're outside of this area and they're still able to achieve that maybe is a weakness that we could exploit. If we were to get a GMB in the center of town, then that would be a big advantage that we would have over that, right? So I kind of put all these things into a blender and then I decide who I'm up against. And a little bit of it is just kind of like a feel that you're going to get, right? So let me go over here and I'm going to put their stuff into Ahrefs. I'll bring the screen over in just a second. Let me do this real quick. I'm actually going to switch the screens because all these pop-ups are coming on here.
Since someone's asking, you want me to show you another way I do keyword research once he's done. Give me, if you will, comment below, give me a niche you want me to look at. Just say, havoc repair or whatever, and then give me the city and I'll show you one of the things we do. Okay, but I want you guys to actually participate, comment, and say, hey, I want it to be havoc, or I want it to be plumber or waterproof or pools. Give me different niches, and me and Patrick here are going to show you different ways we do things, okay? Because Patrick has ways, I have ways. We combine them together and it's a power team, okay? So waterproof for Gainesville. Go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got this company up here in Ahrefs. So like I said, this is a paid account. I think it's worth it if you're really getting into this, but it may be something that you do over time as your agency starts to grow. So this is another backlink analysis. You can see that they have a UR of 12 and a DR of 0.7. This is like this is terrible. This is a really important number, this traffic value. And basically what they're saying is like, let's say I do plumber near me. I'm in Barcelona, so this is going to be all messed up. So let's say I do plumber New York City. Okay, so this is the ads area here, and it's an auction, and you're paying for each click when someone clicks on this. So this person, you put in words that you want to show up for. So what this number is doing, so this click, if I were to click on this, it might cost these people $20, right? So what this is doing is it's taking the average cost per click and saying like for the organic words, so they're not paying for it, the organic words that you're ranking for, how much would it cost to get the same amount of monthly traffic if you were running Google Ads? So it's using the amount that it costs for a click. So the reason that's important is because the amount that people are paying for a click is the value that people are willing to pay more for higher clicks. Like no one is going to pay $1,000 for a towing click, but somebody might do that if it's for like, you know, like I don't know, like maybe if it was like some like high private or personal injury case that could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, people are going to pay more for that. So this value is really telling you the value of what they're ranking for. So with these low numbers and what we've seen, they're ranking for all this stuff, which to me sounds like an opportunity because they've managed to rank really well for a lot of words that matter, $1,200 a month, right? A lot of words that matter without having really great scores on things, right? So here is what they're ranking for. So they're ranking for local electrician. So there's 17,000 searches a month, and the average cost per click is $17. So that's kind of all of these things are contributing to that number. So I like to go through. I also like to look at their backlinks. So I'm a big believer in the fact that if you're getting links that are related and they're from strong sites, not like directories and blogs, that's going to powerfully influence your ranking. Okay, so we saw that their backlinks are not super strong, so we can kind of go into it with that. This looks like they've got a link from some kind of baseball little league thing. Maybe this is a town nearby there. I'm not sure, but that's unrelated to their niche of plumbing, right? When you are going to build and compete against them, you're going to want to get niche relevant links from strong authority sites, right? So you are going to want to beat their links essentially. And this guy, when they have a baseball link, well, like that's not too hard to beat because it's not related. But if I were to come here and I would see that they have a lot of strong links from like big plumbing sites and stuff like this, then that's going to be more challenging for me to overtake them. So that's kind of what I'm looking for here. You can see that this is a water systems link. So this is relevant. So that's probably, and without diving into the site, that's probably like a semi-legit one. This is deck building, which is, but it's a blog, right? We can see this is a link. I could probably go and get a link from this domain. I'm also looking at this DR, which is their backlink rating, and it's a 0, right? So that's not like, that doesn't have a lot of authority on the internet, that domain. Another blog. This looks like some kind of home remodeling site in Houston, which like, maybe that's a good link because it's like a home services industry. It looks like a legit website and not some sort of blog. I'm not sure. It's got a weird subdomain. I'm not sure what's going on, but I just want to kind of like give you guys some insight. There's another blog and to evaluate some of these backlinks. Okay. I don't always go this deep into it. I think it's important when you're getting started. I can kind of look at things after doing this for several years. I can kind of look at things and know where I'm at really quickly, but learning this stuff and evaluating it, it might seem time consuming. But I'll tell you what is time consuming is going into the wrong niche and then spending months and months with the website not ranking, right? So doing this due diligence up front is super important to avoid that. All right, so you want to take over and add in your stuff there, William?
So besides everything else, using the heat maps and the geogrids and everything with Patrick's tool, the other thing I use, and I've talked about on this channel before, is keyword supremacy with Herc Magnus. And one of the really cool things, just for an example, I like about it. So someone gave me a niche, let's say waterproof for Gainesville. I go over here, I log in, I go here, I do a search, and I'm going to show you guys this. So you've done all the research that Patrick tells you. You've looked at the competition. You're specifically looking at the top 3, right? And we're going to go to waterproofer Gainesville, right? Waterproofer Gainesville. Let me make sure this is all spelled right. Waterproofer Gainesville, and I hit search. There's some things that I usually see nothing. I mean, it's so specific, it's like crazy. So I can go in with this. I can go into Google Trends. I can check if the domain's available. I can look at the next thing in Quora and see what questions people are asking. But very specifically, I go to this Google search, and it's going to pull in the, if you will, the all-in title. And I've talked about this before, where you got SEOs that say, "Oh my God, I'm amazing," and I rank for some keyword that no one's trying to rank for. But in this case, let's say I'm trying to rank for waterproofer, and you see already there's really only 3 people trying to rank for this, or if you will, 4 people. In all in title basically means in the title of the website, who all has waterproofer Gainesville there? Well, nobody does. So that tells me if I had all of Patrick's information, this is going to be a really simple, easy niche for me to go in, dominate page 1. No one's ranking for it. No one's, if you will, optimizing their website for it. The next part is I just go into, for instance, waterproofer Gainesville. There's literally one person, and it's a no good one. Then I go waterproofer Gainesville, and it says there's 570,000 results for those terms. But the thing is, when I look at this, I could tell you no one's even trying to optimize for it. So it'd be very simple for me to go in here and dominate it. You look at it, this guy's only got 7 reviews. This guy has no reviews. This guy's got 18. This tells me I can come in here and easily smack give me 30 days and we'll be on page 1. Top 3, page 1. Might not be a high-paying niche. I don't know the niche. But that being said, in keyword supremacy, I then also go, okay, let me check the domain name availability. No, it's available, and I can go buy it right now. I just click buy the domain name, and I could buy it, right? And it's all done through that. Now, let's take another niche real quick and just show you the same thing. Fence installation Santa Ana. So fence installation Santa Ana. I don't think that's spelt right, but I'm going to make sure it is first. And I know that's not spelled right. Santa Ana.
Oh, you're missing a T. Yeah.
There we go. So Santa Ana, California. And so once again, you can go into Google Trends if you wanted to, and it's going to show you anything that's inside Google Trends as well, right? Just to show you that, guys. And then you can go into Google search and do the same thing. Let me close out waterproofer. So fence installation, all in title. There's only 6 people competing for it. One of them has 88. So this is going to be one of those things where you're going to look at it and go, do I want to touch it? Because they got a lot of reviews. That's a good bit of reviews for a niche that's tiny. Okay. When I say tiny, I mean, it ain't got like 30 different people competing for it. But the good news is this tells me there's only 6 people in the results right here. You can see it, right? That are actually having all in title inside, right up here, inside of their actual all in title being, if you will, the title of pages. You're right. So fence installation Santa Ana. This is the title when we're referring to title. Okay. Next part. So how many people are actually ranking, or how many websites are there? 343. Okay. How many results is it coming out with? 25 million. Okay. And I can look at all these different things, and I can go back in here and go, okay, well, maybe I want to run with it. Is the domain name available? Is the EDM available? No, it's not available, but .net is available. Semi-road service. You could do the same thing. Semi-road service, New Mexico. Let's go semi-road service, New Mexico. And the cool thing is I can run the GeoGrids, do all Patrick's, stuff inside of LeadSnap, and then I can come in here and do the same thing and look at Google Trends. I kind of like it because it's all in one place, and I don't have to go to different windows. It just pops everything up for me. This is because I got too much going on right now, but let's go to all in title, or this is all in URL, which is a good one. All in URL, if you don't know what all in URL means, the actual URL, of the structure. In other words, if I went to this site and looked at, it will say semi truck service or semi road service New Mexico is actually in the URL. There's only 2 results, and none of them have that term in the actual URL, which means they're not optimized for it. Nobody's matched for semi road service New Mexico. So all the information I've gotten so far tells me like that semi road service to be extreme. All those that we've got just so far be extremely easy to get ranked for. That's not to say they're good niches to get involved in. Just because it's easy to get ranked for does not mean it's, hey, let's go ahead and go all in, and then you get ranked for it and then you don't get any leads. Okay. If you do the due diligence and actually look at, well, okay, how long is the sales process? Like Patrick and me talk about, is it going to take 30 days to close a sale, or is it, 15-minute phone call? Is it a one-step sale, or it's going to have to go through this person, this board, this person, and then finally make money? I'm going to stay away from it. Those are different things you're going to have to look at, but I like to use the combination of those tools. And I also came up with my own GMB audit tool. So in comparison, also with using LeadSnap, then I can, with that GMB audit tool, I go in top 10 and I can pull in, for example, you notice Patrick talked about, is the keyword in the title of the business name on GMB. The tool that I have, the GMB audit tool, goes and pulls all that information, tells me, for example, yes, this one has the keyword in the title. No, this one doesn't. No, this one doesn't. How many reviews does it have? Is it 1 or 2 reviews, or is it 800 reviews? These are very important things to know, and it tells me all that. So that's part of what I do in combination of everything. So it makes it a power team, if you will. So let's see. Drop your questions below if you have any questions for Patrick or myself, or any specific niche questions maybe you have for Patrick. And if you want my ebook on niches, niches are, riches are in the niches, you want to comment below in YouTube, and I will get that over to you. And let's see here. Yep, ain't got too many more questions. I got a couple of questions. GMBs it's always the bane of everybody's existence. The bane of everybody's existence because I've now been slow to create any new ones, because now you're having to do, I know but I know a lot of people are now having to do video verifications. There is another method. I just, I don't talk about methods too many times, because when you talk about it, the next thing you know, 20 minutes later, it's no good, or 20, whatever. But there are other methods beside where you can get around video verifications. The bulk upload method is not working anymore, so I'm no longer able to do bulk method upload. And that's why I tell people all the time, these are hacks. They're churn and burn. They work for a period of time, and then they're not going to work anymore. So, don't. That's why I personally don't buy methods, because the sheer fact that just be prepared. They're not going to work forever if you're going to buy them. So, so he goes, for example, do you set up citations to an address first, let them index prior to creating a GMB? What do you do there, Patrick? Do you set them up?
We started
kind of marinate?
Yeah, we started just doing it with the big citations, like Yellow Pages and Yelp and Facebook and stuff like this. And then we let those sit for a little bit. And then what I've noticed is that GMBs kind of go through this roller coaster where it seems like everything's verifying and then nothing's verifying. So it kind of depends. If we're having one that's we're really getting stuck with to try to get it verified, then we'll do that. But historically, that hasn't been our default. And I'm not paying for a bunch of citations prior to getting the GMB. I'm just doing a couple main ones that are stronger than, not all citations are created equal, right?
Correct. Paid ones are always better.
Yeah.
Let's see here. At least in my experience, I mean.
Go ahead.
I said, at least in my experience, paid ones are always better. So.
Yeah. Let me share my screen. This is another part of our due diligence here, is this tool. It's built into LeadSnap. So there's not automations attached to this yet, but they're coming. We're going to be able to pull information from different sites and have it kind of populate. But basically the way this works is you can build your own worksheets. So this is almost like having a spreadsheet, right? There's a little bit more to it because it is it's running off a database here, right? So if I have this default here, and this is the default worksheet, you can make as many of these as you want, right? So you can choose a existing niche, which this is a list of niches I have. I have roofing, and then I'll put in the city, the population of the city, and then I'm just answering some questions. And once I fill this thing out, based on the answers to my questions, I'm going to assign it a rating. And then all these things are stored over here. So as you go through this, not quite sure what happened. Didn't like my, hang on one second. I think we're updating our code right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we have an update going on right now in our system. This is the time we do it. So basically what happens is you have a list of all your niches, and then you can use different filters and look at the ratings for the system. So you can see like, hey, show me the ones that I've evaluated in Cincinnati. Show me the ones that I've evaluated in Dallas. Show me the ones that are in roofing or whatever. So you can apply all these filters and look at the results, and you can build the worksheets out with whatever criteria you want on there. So if you want to add reviews in there or citation count or whatever their content, all this stuff. So it's just a system to kind of help you stay organized, putting all these things under this system here. So in the future, we'll be pulling this data in for you automatically. You can say, what's the citation count? What is the Ahrefs? What is the Majestic score? So you won't need those subscriptions. We'll rely on our connection to the API to pull all this information for you, getting reviews, all this stuff, and kind of like aggregating it under one spot here. So that's a great tool that we have in there for you guys. It looks like it is back up. I can show you. Just do these updates real quick. Let me log back in. All right, cool. So if we go over here to our research and then due diligence and then all niches. So these are the ones that I've run in the past, and you can see over here, this is a rating, and this is a rating that I've assigned it to. And then I could go through and kind of search through this and say, show me the ones that are a 10, right? The ones that I think are the best opportunities. And then if I wanted to, I could go and look at this form that I filled out, right? And it has all the information with the competition. So this is the backlink count, the index pages. That's another thing I didn't mention earlier. I pay attention to the amount of pages that they have indexed. I also like to look at the titles of the site, right? So are they using like good SEO principles on the page titles? Does it have keywords in it? Or is it just like, in this case, does it just say, I think this was like Detroit towing or something, right? So if we were to look at this, I did like a site command here on this, and I could see the pages that they have indexed, right? You can see Detroit towing contact, everything says Detroit towing. So they're not really very optimized with what they're targeting here, right? If they were doing it right, it would say like Detroit towing and then like whatever, tire replacement, record service, whatever it is that I'm not in the towing niche that much, so I don't know all the different services. That's something I pay attention to. But what you can do, whatever it is that matters to you, you can build that out into a sheet and use this system to keep organized. So if I go here to all worksheets, okay, there we are. All right, so I can create my own worksheet here and add in whatever fields I want. So you can kind of see, you can choose text fields or check boxes, radio buttons, whatever it is, it's kind of like a form builder. So you build your form, and then you use that to evaluate it, and then you rate that based on those evaluations. Okay, cool. William, are you still with me? Looks like William disappeared. I don't know if we lost him. I know he was having some internet issues.
No, I'm still here, buddy.
All right. Oh, okay, cool. All right. One other thing that we prepared that I wanted to share that we didn't have last week. I know there's been a lot of questions with, hey, what's the difference between LeadSnap and Local Viking, right? And I hated that comparison because it seems like an injustice to us, and it was hard to kind of explain the differences quickly. So we made this page. If you go to leadsnap.com, we're gonna add this into the menu here pretty soon. We just published this LeadSnap versus Local Viking. So we've got the same price point, and if you were to do the math, the way that this is calculated is 13 by 13 times 50. So that's 169 times 50. That's where you'll get this. That's how many grids we have here. We took theirs, so that's the amount of credits. If we were to use the credit system, we're not using that. So we've kind of got this GMB ranking search. We both have heat map scheduling, right? We both can search multiple keywords, custom grid shapes. They can't do that. We can. So that's the ability to kind of draw. If you want to see, I'll just kind of go into this. We're going to make another column over here where it has little explainer videos on this. If any of you guys are sticking with Local Viking, the ability to draw your own shape, right? So let me just pull up our heat map here. I think we probably have one with the custom grid. One second here. I'll show you what I mean by this custom grid. Okay, you can kind of see this is in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and we drew the shape around the water, so that way it's not like influencing your rankings here. So that's what a custom grid shape is. Rerun the same search. We can both do that. Unlimited history, yes. Heat map averaging. That's something that I think is really powerful. They don't have. We have that, so you can get the average score for your heat maps here. You can see that right here. So this company has an average of 19.88. So that they've got 1.7, which is probably where their GMB is. This is a big area. And then they're all 20s. It looks like they have a couple 19s and 18s up here as well. Let's see here. We've got unlimited competitor views. So you have the ability with this to flip this as many times as you want. So if I want to flip this, that doesn't cost me any credits or a search. And I can see this from my competitor's view. So I can basically dive into the entire market. We've got a share link. They've got a share link. We've got one that you don't have to be logged in. And you can flip the competitors. We can both download the PDF. We have pretty similar stuff with GMB management, posting. This is where it starts to change though, right? So this is why I've always hated this, like, how do you guys compare to Local Viking? So let's look at this. Like, this is all the functionality with the CRM that they don't have any. And then we've got the reputation management stuff, right? And then we've got phone tracking and the integrations to Zapier and CallRail and WordPress, which, like, I guess it doesn't make complete sense because they don't have that. We've got the coaching that's kind of like built in. We've got analytics integrations and Google Ads tools, and then the due diligence thing that we just went over. We've got unlimited user accounts and client access. You can send emails from your own email account, right? So if you guys want to explore this more, if you're on the fence, the price point is the same for this. So all this other stuff is just included as a part of that. So I just want to share that. I know that's a question that comes up often, and it's something that I really want to push because I think this is a very lopsided comparison. So happy to answer. Tony says the custom grid works great in Cape Town. That's good to hear, man. What's up, Karen? All right, cool. Yeah, you can take it back over, William. I'm going to kill my screen share, but that's just something I wanted to put out there because I think it's there's some confusion on the two different products.
No, that's good, man. You're all good. Any more questions, guys? Because basically at the top of the hour. Hey, William Patrick, great review of. We also use that keyword supremacy. Your new audit tool updates coming in. Lead snaps are right on. Thorough research can prevent a bad niche choice. This is what we're trying to get you to avoid. Is really, you got to really dive deep into the niche that you want to get into. And one of the things I see too many people doing is they go into too many niches. You spread yourself way too damn thin. Only go into one niche. Stick with one niche. If you were me, I'd tell you go on the one niche, stick in one niche, and then that's what you're going to stay with until you become a master at it. And then you can start looking at other niches. Once again, if you go to the YouTube channel, comment on the YouTube channel, on the YouTube video after this is done with a live, and I will give you our free niches, ebook, if you will. So we go over how to find niches and a list of whole bunch of different niches you can actually, dive into. So the lead snap, if you want to find out, and maybe go into the description below, and you can go into lead snap and check that out as well, and sign up for lead snap and start getting some geogrids. And then they got all types of stuff we go over on this channel all the time, the phone numbers, besides the geogrids, besides the reputation management. We're going to be going over a lot of other stuff. Besides the days I have Patrick on, we'll be going over it separate as well. So all right, guys, I appreciate it as always. I'm going to get off here. Appreciate it, Patrick. And until next week, we will see you guys again. And hopefully y'all have a great week and be blessed and keep your heads up. All right. Have a good one.
Take care, everyone. Adios.
Bye.
I have so many SEOs that hate me and say that I'm stealing their methods. They bitching and cry, labeling me SEO Black Hat. I was a nobody, now I'm at the top. Most wanted, most loved, bad business owners, and hated by most SEO opponents. You think you're an SEO god, but you're an SEO fraud. Guess I'm the SEO devil, shouting fuck the SEO guys. White hat SEO doesn't make sense, going with the goody goodies. Up in heaven dressed in white, I like black Tims, I like black hoodies. Fake SEOs up there probably have me on some real straight shit. No sleeping all day, no getting my dick licked. Hanging out with the goody two shoes, lounging in paradise, whole shit. Fuck that shit, I wanna use CT, y'all, and get some green geogrids. Homie, we get it, you think you do